because this is an interesting topic. If someone tells you, oh, you say like, oh, like, what are you? And they say, oh, I am love. I'm a nice person. I'm a kind person. I'm all this. And you say, oh, okay, like, that's awesome. But then you observe their behavior and they're not. They're not, like, they're a hateful person, or like they do evil stuff, or like they punch people in the face, or like they like they just do bad things all the time. Then in your head you'll be like, that's not who you are. You're a liar. You told a lie. Because you told me you're this, but your actions aren't showing that. But if you were to say, well, and this is the gem of Christianity, is if you say, well, I am a sinner, and you say, okay, and then I observe, people on the outside observe you and say, okay, you sin. Yeah, it's true. It's the truth. And so from that, you're two things. You told the truth, so you're truthful, and you are what you say you are, though, a sinner. But that's not all you are. Because now you can say, well, I am a sinner, but I am a lover. And they'll be like, oh, wow, like, okay. And then they see you do both. And so it's true. It's true. Because if you only said you're a sinner, but then they saw you do loving things, they would be like, well, what? Like, something's not adding up here. There was a lie told about you from you. Or the other way, where it's like, well, you're telling me you're a lover, but you're not a lover. I've just seen you do bad things or evil things. And so that can't be the truth. But if you are all these things at once, but you have to have that humility to be like, well, I'm not perfect. I'm not this. And then people look and say, well, it's true. He's not perfect. But he is this. But he's also this, though. And so, if you want to be a king, or an emperor or something like that. And you tell someone that, and they're like, okay, so like, what are you? And you're like, well, I'm an emperor. Well, I'm a king. In their head, they might be like, what? Like, oh, like a Nigerian prince or something like that, right? But the thing is that, and you say, oh, but I'm also like a sinner. Like, I fall short. Like, I do all this stuff. And they'll be like, okay. And so they observe you. It doesn't mean you're not a king anymore. It means that you're a king who is a sinner, like David. Like King David. And so this is what I'm saying, is that it's up to you to say who you are and what you are and what you want to become, because you have that power. Because I can't just put a label on you. You have to say who you are, and then everyone else on the outside is going to come to their own conclusion on who you are. Some people just hate you to hate you, right? Some people just don't want you to be what you are, right? But then there's other people who will be like, well, it's not true. He's a liar. He's a liar. And once that throws everything out the window. But if you tell the truth and go like, no, I am a sinner, but I am a king. But I am a king. And people will look at that and be like, well, he doesn't have a castle. Well, he doesn't have this. But the castle isn't the king. Right? You're a king before you have a castle. Because the king is who you are. It's your character. And so, when I was a kid, I used to love Skyrim and like like nerdy games like RPG. It was like my dirty secret. But I would love those kind of games, right? And I would love, games where you create a character, what they look like, how the voice, how they talk, dialogue choices and stuff like that. Like, you got to choose who you wanted to be. Are they evil? Are they good? Are they sometimes good and sometimes evil? Right? Like, did I make a mistake? Did I accidentally press the button too quick or something? You know what I mean? Like, you made choices. You made choices. And then the choices are how people know you on the outside. And so if you wanted to be, in Skyrim, you wanted to be, a wizard or something, then you could go and do wizard stuff. But it didn't mean you weren't going to pull a sword or something. Anyways, look, where I'm going with this is that it's up to you to say who you are, what you are. And you will know the truth because it's already in you as to who or what you are. The purpose is already in you. And so, like, you don't want to lie to yourself either. And then someone asks you, like, are you this? Or, like, you know what I mean? And then you're too scared to say what you are because then you're lying to yourself. But the whole point is for you to be yourself. And that takes a lot of courage. That takes a lot of guts, because other people might be they might not like who you are. They might say, well, you know, like you're a nerd, or like you're a jock, or like you're a drama kid, or like you're a band geek, or you're like, do you see what I'm saying? But that's who you are. That's who you are. And so in order for you to actually live in that state, and then all of a sudden you're at the orchestra, because those people weren't meant to be around you. You were meant to be, you were meant to be around the symphony and the people who come to the symphony. And then they're like, wow, you're really good at clarinet, or like you're really good at saxophone. But the jocks aren't going to relate to you, because they don't want to be around you. They want to be around the coaches and the prospectors and stuff like that. Like, that's their world. That's their world. That's their plot line. That's their storyline, right? And so in the world, you have to find your belonging, but you'll never find your belonging until you are who you are, who you actually are. Only you know the answer to that. Only you know the answer to that. And don't limit yourself to just one thing, because you might be a band geek that also loves football, or you might be a jock that also loves the goth stuff. You might be into heavy metal. You might be into emo bands or something. Like, this is what I'm saying. You're not just one thing. Like, no one is, right? But it's multiple things combined. And, you know, like, that's what I'm saying with my analogy of the video game. Is like, you might want to play as a mage, but then you find a sword that you really like, and you're like, no, I want to play as a swordsman now. And in my other hand is a fire spell or something. And so you become something unique. You become something brand new. Like, it's who you are. That's how you hear about the legend of King Arthur, or, you know, Emperor Constantine or something like that. Like, this is how those things start. Or literally, like in comic books or something, like a superhero, like they have their own identity, right? Like, Batman has his own arc and his own story and his own problems and his own beliefs and his own stuff. And it turns into a universe. Like, everyone else knows him as these other things. Like, he's rich, he's all this stuff. But then on the other hand, you might have someone like, you know, Joker, and he has his own life and his own story and his own beliefs on who he is and stuff like that, right? But to other people, no, you're a villain. But to him, he's like, no, I'm the hero. You know? And so this is what I'm saying. But anyways, where I'm going with it is that you are something unique. Each and every one of us is. And if you're waiting for someone else to tell you who you are, like when you walk across the stage at university, and you walk across the stage, and you were in university to become a doctor, and it took you, 8 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is that you went into. When are you actually the doctor? Do you become that doctor once they hand you the slip? Or were you always that doctor all along? When did you become the doctor? The actual person that is on the operating table helping people, right? Like, obviously you would say like, well, I couldn't do any of that until I had the certificate. But I mean, you were already that person. You were already that doctor. That's who you are. An aspect of who you are. Because on the side, you love playing badminton. Or on the side, and people would be like, it's a double life. But it's not a double life. It's his life. It's your life. And that's what I'm saying is like, be unique. Don't be scared to be the person that, I love going to the club, but I also want to go to candlelights, or I also want to go to go see an opera, or, I want to go to church, but I also want to do this, but obviously within reason and stuff like that. Because as long as you admit that, like, no, I am a sinner, I'm not perfect, because none of us are, then you're not going to be held up to these perfect standards that are unachievable, right? That like celebrities have, where like they're one thing, but then they can't move around because they feel like they're trapped. They feel like they're trapped in this, like, once someone tries to be a gangster rapper, you're trapped. You're trapped because you're trying to be something you never were. And so it's like this image, but then you'll try to go into acting and then you'll try to bring that persona with you because it's, you know what I mean? So you'll always be the same role. You can't ever be the hero knight that goes to save the princess, falls in love and stuff, because you're trying to live up to this image of being this gangster from Atlanta who's like, you know what I mean? That you never were. Or that's all you are trying to become. Like, you see what I'm saying? So you're limited. Whereas like if you truly, you know, if that is the case or something like that, you would be able to do so many different things because that's not all you are. That isn't all you are. You know, Denzel Washington came from, you know, hard environments. You know what I mean? Like, you know, was involved in organized crime and stuff like that. But like low level, and then he became an actor and now he's in like 20 different roles. He can express 20 different things. You see him 20 different ways. He's not the same person. Like, he's a different person everywhere he goes. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's almost like when you have 2 or 3 friend groups and you try to merge them together and then you're trying to be 3 different people at once. Right? Because like, it's all you. It is all you. But it's like, it's so many different worlds merging. But that's how you know that like you are yourself. You are yourself. Because they're like, I never knew that you would be into something like this. Or like, I never knew that you like this. Because it's you. Because it's you. But anyways, but I want to loop it back around here and say, you know, you need to state it to yourself. Like, seriously, like if you think that like, no, I'm a king and all this stuff, it doesn't mean everyone has to bow down to you and be your subject. Like, do you see what I'm saying? You're a king because you're a king. And so if you truly are a king and that's the truth that you're saying, other people will be like, oh, that's king. That's yeah, he's a king or whatever. Right. And you don't even need a castle. They'll just be like, no, he is a king. Like, he is a king. Like, he believes he's a king. Like, it's for real. Like, his kingdom is like over there in the parking lot, like for real. But that's how it starts. Because now it's the truth. It is the truth. And it's not like you're the perfect, you know, you're not this angelic being or something like that, but maybe you are an angelic being, but you're still a sinner. And so that's what grounds us all into you can be whatever you want as long as you acknowledge that you're not perfection. Right? None of us can be God. None of us can be God. That's the only one that's off limits. Okay? That's the only one that's off limits. Nobody can take that role. Right? Jesus Christ filled that role. Like, it is what it is. Right? So don't try to become that for everyone else. No one's going to worship you. Not everyone is going to love you. Not everyone loves God. Do you see what I'm saying? And so don't try to fill that role that isn't for you. And you're trying to, you know, say, no, but it's not like that. It's like, you have to give me respect. I'm taxing everyone if you want to go through here. And so, like, you're going to get overthrown. Like, you're going to get humbled. And so that's why, if that's who you are, then other people will know that as you, because you don't need to prove it to anyone. It's just, that's who you are. And everyone's going to know that's who you are. Right? And so, like, anyways, I just wanted to share that because I feel like a lot of people, they're just scared to be themselves. You know, they're scared to be themselves. Like, you know, they feel like judgment from other people is going to stop them. But it's like, you're going to be you aren't even who you really are right now. And people already judge you. You might as well be judged for who you actually are. You might as well. Because then at least that way you have real enemies that can be destroyed. Like, it's not destroyed, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they hate you for who you are instead of love you for who you're not. You know what I mean? And that's a whole other freedom. That's like you can be yourself and succeed in the things that you want to succeed in. Like, you'll go and run a marathon, or like, you'll go and do this, and people will be like, dude, I can't believe that that's who he is. Like, I just never knew. Because most people don't care, man. It's just in your own head that you think that people care because you think you're going to become famous or like something like that. And you might, but you're not going to be famous to everyone. You know what I mean? It's almost like those arrogant people that go on a flight and they go like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Well, obviously not. And nobody cares that is on that flight. You know what I'm saying? Or like that is in the checkout line at Walmart. Like, relax, buddy. You know what I mean? And so that's what I mean. But if you go to Games Workshop and you're Henry Cavill and you're trying to get the Warhammer TV show, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, people are going to go, no way, no way, because you're known in that world. Like, that's who you are. It's who you are. And so you're not pretending. You don't have to pretend. Like, you're known in this place, and that's where you can fulfill your life. That's where you get this purpose and love and stuff like that. Everything that you desire, right, is in your heart. Like, God placed it within you, right? And it's him, but he's going to take you there. And it's just such a hassle in order for us to actually get there, because there's so much coming against us, and Satan too. Like, we have real enemies and witches and stuff, like all that kind of stuff. But it is doable, but you have to be yourself first, right? Like, you need to know who you are in Christ. Like, you need to know who you are in order to fill your purpose and to fill your mission. And so anyways, I wanted to fill that. I hope I did it justice, man. But really, create your character, man. Create your character. You know, who do you want to be in this world? Right? Pardon me. You're already that. That's who you are already. It's just you need to let it come out. Let it come out. And find out who your friends are, man. Who likes you for who you really are. Right? And if they don't, then get away from them, man. And find people who do, because they're out there. They are out there, bro. You know, and that's where you'll find your fame, and that's where you'll find your wealth and your success and all this kind of stuff. That's where you'll find it. It doesn't mean the whole world has to love you. Right? Like, no, it's not possible. Right? You need to find your space, your niche, and like your people and stuff like that, right? And your belonging. So anyways, I wanted to share that with you guys. But yeah, God bless you guys, man.